today we're going to talk about these absolute scumbags from backyard breaks and why every single major business within this industry needs to use the disgusting comments in the last 24 to 36 hours to get rid of them for good, kick them to the curb, throw them in the trash, because this stuff is completely unacceptable. And the most frustrating thing about this whole situation is that this is a business with known issues for the last 3 or 4 years, right? Everything that has gone wrong when it comes to them over the last 3 or 4 years has led to today. And these big businesses that have sort of let those things slide because they can make so much money off the back of them is no longer an okay excuse to sort of keep them around, because that ineptitude from these businesses for so long has led to exactly where we are today. And that's sort of what I want to talk to, because whilst it's been fantastic to sort of see so much pushback towards them, we've yet to hear a peep out of whatnot, and we've yet to sort of see anything transpire. And it's not okay from the perspective that this stuff has been happening for so bloody long. Like I said, like if we had a proper approach done 3 years ago when they tried to steal that Trevor Lawrence gold kaboom, maybe they wouldn't have been around today to make these disgusting comments and sort of damage the brain of some of these big businesses. So, just bear with me as we talk through it today. I'm sure 99% of you guys have seen these comments. I'm not going to repeat them. I will allude to them in the intro to this video, but it's one of those ones where I want to share my thoughts because a lot of the focus has gone on the pushback, and rightfully so, but we need to hold these businesses accountable because this is not okay. Like I said, these issues have been going on for many, many years. We'll talk about it in today's video, so please just bear with me. Now, the comments made were by the guy on the right, Grant. He is actually one of the co-owners of the business and is actually listed as being the chief marketing officer. So obviously his brain is not there at all to be doing that in that position. But the comments were disgusting, like I said. He came out and sort of talked for over a minute, and it got worse and worse the more you listen to this thing, about a fictional daughter of his that he wanted to sort of pimp out onto OnlyFans, and was implying he'd be doing so at a young age, amongst many, many other disgusting things, right? This just goes without saying, probably the most abhorrent, disgusting thing that I've heard of from somebody in the industry, let alone somebody as prominent as this business actually is. And like I sort of said maybe 30 seconds ago, it's sort of great to have seen so many people push back. I don't think it goes far enough. And I'll get to those thoughts in a second, but those comments are sort of made even worse by their co-host over here. I don't remember the guy's name. Someone's commented it down below. You can reference it for yourself, but he's sort of joining in on the joke and sort of making it even worse, and it just highlights how out of touch these absolute idiots are and how disgusting both of them are, to be perfectly honest with you. But it's then made even worse by a ridiculous apology that Grant has left, and Grant Telford is his name, but goes on to say the following: I would like to sincerely apologize about the comments I made on stream Tuesday. My words and actions were completely inappropriate, and to say across the line is an understatement. There's absolutely no excuse for what I said. An apology alone isn't enough. I'll be taking some time off and stepping away from the backyard to reflect on my actions, and you'll be seeking help to hold himself accountable moving forward. I need to be better, plain and simple. I need to be more aware of my words and actions, and that my words reach many people, which is, such a typical BS chat GPT response, for being perfectly honest. And again, downplays the importance or the gravity of the things that he was sort of saying, because this is such a cliche response. And the sort of wording over here about him stepping away with the implication that he's going to come back at some point, I think is not good enough either. And a few people like Neocards and Comics that did a really good job covering this in the first place. This all popped off while I was at work, like I said, so I got to sort of, see the dominoes fall, I should say. Highlighted the fact that, what sort of transpired. He goes completely against Whatnot's T's and C's. So it'd be really interesting to see what Whatnot do. Now, at a minimum, Whatnot should be suspending them for a period of time. That's the absolute minimum while they do their investigation. But I think they should go one step further and ban them, completely. And if you want to understand why, read the comments here and read how people are sort of reacting to this situation, because it's beyond abhorrent, like I said. And these guys are not just small-time participants. They're one of the biggest breakers. They have partnerships with Whatnot. They have a partnership with GameStop, for Christ's sake, to sell their own, repacks. These guys are not small fry. You can't be, aligning to them as a major business within this industry and allowing those kinds of comments to take place. They need to be gone for good. Because I need to remind you guys, these are a business that 4 years ago tried to steal a gold Trevor Lawrence kaboom card out of a free pack they gave to somebody on stream, because the card ended up getting hit and being worth, 5 figures or 6 figures, whatever it was, right? Those kinds of unethical behaviors. This is the same business that has had accusations towards him around stealing hits, loading boxes, had accusations towards him about palming cards in streams, having, ex-employees go on the record, even though they weren't verified, about, unethical practices. It's just issue after issue after issue with these guys, speaking to a really toxic culture where they don't give a crap about you as a customer. They don't give a crap about anybody within this hobby. They just give a crap about making as much money as possible. And they've shown they don't care. And like I sort of said in that intro, when, they've had these issues in the past about trying to steal cars, that Trevor Lawrence, I keep referring to it, right? Having issues like that. Why didn't Whatnot, throw the hammer at them then? They always got a little tap on their hand or all these other kinds of BS and sort of allowed to keep getting away with it. And to the point now where they can go on a stream and make those kinds of comments and think it's, sort of okay in the moment and then get away with it still because, Whatnot still stayed silent in this situation. It's not okay. And like I sort of said, they're aligned to GameStop. They have, repacks that they sell at multiple GameStop stores around the country. Like this is something that shouldn't happen. To have, an owner of a business. And again, people have sort of said, well, the guy's just a breaker. They get rid of him, backyard breaks and stick around. This guy is an owner of the business. He is the chief marketing officer, as it does say over here, chief marketing officer, Grant Telford. He is, like it does say over here, a hobby pioneer. He's one of the OGs, one of the ones that started it. And he's somebody that, is there to provide, positivity within the hobby and beyond. He wants to make a safe environment, blah, blah, blah. This is a guy that's, core to that business operating. And he's gone ahead and made those kinds of comments. It's like, mate, what's so positive about what you said, right? You're there as a breaker. You're at shows where people are taking photos of you with kids. They look up to you and you're making those kinds of comments. GameStop is a business that operates on kids coming into your store every single day to participate, buy video games, buy comic books, buy all the other crap that you sell. Yet you're going to allow a business tied to this absolute scumbag that's owned by this scumbag to still be a partner with you and offer these things in your store. It should be a flat out, no, get the heck out of here. We don't want to deal with you anymore. It needs to be that black and white when it comes to line in the sand moment like this, or a line in the sand moment like this, because what's going to happen? They're going to say, okay, Grant, you can no longer break on our platform as Whatnot. We're going to get rid of you. You can never be on camera again. But guess what? The guy owns it. So by keeping that business around, he's still profiting from, what this business is doing. Like that's not okay in my book. And, a lot of people have sort of been saying the same sort of thing, but I just wanted to clarify that this is a business that's had these issues for so many years. Like you go to Sports Card Radio's, page as an example, mine, AIH Sports, and we've been covering these guys for 3 or 4 years now with issue after issue when it came to repacks and potentially rigged breaks and all that other kind of thing with palming of cards and stealing Trevor Lawrence kabooms, all that sort of thing, right? They've had ample opportunity to say, you know what, guys, this is not okay anymore. It's not going to go ahead. We're going to ban you, 3 years ago. And then they wouldn't be in the position where they are today to damage these brands, like I said in that intro, because let's not forget, Backyard Breaks have this partnership with GameStop. Nat Turner, I believe, is on the board now of GameStop, if I remember correctly, or something along those lines. They're now tied to PSA. So what's PSA's response going to be on this? Ultimately, these comments in alignment with everything else that's gone on with them as a business over the last, 3 or 4 years, needs to be looked at in its entirety and say, you know what, you guys are damaged goods. You're no good for this industry. We don't want to partner with you. And that should mean that Whatnot should ban them for good. Get rid of them for good. That should mean that Fanatics should not sign them off the back of that, because why would they? You've got Fanatics at the moment praising this whole Paul Skeens card about the fact that an 11-year-old kid hit it in a retail pack or whatever it was. So they're telling this story, this amazing story about a random kid, life-changing money for him and his family to buy this pack and change everyone's lives. And they want to show that the hobby's for kids. You want to go ahead and allow these guys to use your product and bust your product. Any single store that sells to them, any business that, has a direct account with them, should can them for good for that reason and that reason alone. Kids are the future for this hobby, right? That goes without saying. If kids don't want to buy these cards today, they're not going to want to buy them in 30 or 40 years, right? Because they didn't grow up with them like we did. So you need to create an environment for them that's inclusive, that's safe, and rid of idiots like this, scumbags like this, absolute diddlers making comments like this. It's disgusting. And I don't know what else to sort of say beyond that. It's just crazy to me how there's people out there trying to downplay it or defend it. And if you want to see some of that downplaying and defending, go look at Sports Card Radio on Twitter. You've got Backyard Breaks fans threatening violence on people for calling these guys out, trying to hold them accountable. It's like, what world are we living in where people think this kind of thing is okay? I don't get it. And all those reasons that I mentioned are why businesses should, steer clear of them completely. And to sort of go on one other thought that Jeff Wilson actually touched on, I thought it was, again, a ridiculous out of touch comment from him, but it's sort of what you're sort of seeing on screen. He's sort of almost downplaying the situation and being so quick to say, good job, guys, for the apology that you put out, that ridiculous apology that I just showed, a little bit earlier in this video, because Jeff essentially closes his X comment, and he got grilled on X, and rightfully so. And also, in the comment section of his actual Instagram post he says, I'm glad they apologize, and I hope they truly do grow to be more respectful and empathetic in the future, sort of implying this chat GPT generic response that you sort of see when people post things from a PR team is enough. And I want to highlight that it's not. And clearly Jeff is out of touch, as always, when it comes to stories like this, because he's almost running out to sort of play both sides to an extent, or give an opinion on something and want to be, this dude commenting on things, but doing so without actually any substance. Because I think that comment over here is just nothing more than a PR stunt from Jeff, I'm being perfectly honest with you. But he got absolutely grilled, like I said, and he sort of had to backtrack a few hours later when people sort of went after him for saying, Jeff, what the fuck are you talking about? And he sort of clarifies things over here. And he does say one thing which I agree with is that, Whatnot needs time to sort of assess whether or not they should suspend these guys. Jeff does say they should be suspended. I think they should be banned completely. And the only reason why I'm saying Whatnot need time is because it's obviously going to be something that has to be via legal precedent, right? They can't just go ahead and ban these guys flat right from going, right? They need to go and approach it the right way. And I truly hope they do, because there's a number of reasons why they can go ahead and do it. And I think ultimately it's going to come down to, the ethics of the situation and being a fit and proper, person to be operating on their platform. We've spoken about Topps' T's and C's for so many videos on this channel about what they're sort of imposing on local car stores and the things they need to be doing and the standards they need to be keeping. This is another clear-cut example of why that is kind of a good thing from Topps, because Topps can come out and say, we don't want to be affiliated with you for this, and this reason. And I truly hope we sort of see that from every single major business, like I said, because this is not a one-off thing from them. Whilst this is beyond disgusting, it is nothing in comparison to all the things of the past and nothing in comparison to what sort of happened today. They all lead to this road, right? They're all notches in the same belt of scumbag behavior from them. And it's not okay. And I'm shocked that people are downplaying. And I think that's what these companies need to keep front of mind. They should not be looking at this issue in isolation. They should be looking at the ethics of them over the last 3 or 4 years. And I'm repeating myself now, but you guys get it. Look at this sports car radio page. I've typed in backyard breaks and there is 3 or 4 playlists and about 20 or 30 videos specifically related to them as a business. It's like, guys, when is enough enough? You need to draw a line in the sand. We don't need people like this in this industry, because they're going to come out and do the shady things they've been doing, whether they're proven to be true or not. There's enough allegations out there to sort of say, hey guys, this is strange. Why there's so many allegations towards you as a business? To then come out and make the comments they made today, it's like, guys, this is how you are as a person. You've said the silent part out loud. You're the owner. You're the chief marketing officer. In the bio on their website, I'll very quickly show it to you now. He talks about the fact that he used to break in a garage. Now he breaks in front of hundreds of thousands of people every single day. It's like, you knowingly say that in your bio, that this is the viewership you have, this is the perception you have, and you still think it's okay to say those things. Like, what are you saying behind closed doors? If you're going to be that abhorrent in front of hundreds of thousands of people a day, what are you saying behind closed doors? And were you speaking the quiet part out loud? And like I sort of said, you've had all these issues with them in the past. I keep saying the same words in this video, but this needs to be looked at, in aggregate. Can't be looked at in isolation. Every business needs to step away from them. And if they have a direct account with Panini and Topps, they need to be cancelled. And I'm confident in saying that's what should happen. I really want to hear what you guys have to say down below. But even if they don't, if I'm a Topps, if I'm Michael Rubin, I'm seeing this sort of thing happen while we're trying to bring more kids into the hobby and we're praising that 11-year-old that hit that poor Skeens card. If you're trying to do all those things and you have one of your distributors or one of your local car stores selling to backyard breaks directly, I'd say, hey, you do that again, we're going to stop selling to you. And that's what they need to be doing in a situation like this. And, people have tried to downplay this as cancel culture. You can't be doing that. Like, guys, these kinds of comments, I think it's pretty crystal clear that should be gone, and we don't want people like that in that hobby. And he's an owner of the business, so that should tell you something. So anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. I just think this is absolutely disgusting. Please let me know your thoughts, and if I missed anything. And just for clarification, it's 9 p.m. Friday night Australian time. I think all this popped off around 12, 14 hours ago. It's probably going to release in 5 or 6 hours time. So maybe things released since then, maybe Whatnot have actually come out and made a statement, because they've been silent to date, which is completely unacceptable. I can understand why they need to take time. I don't recall if I mentioned earlier, it needs to be via a legal precedent. So maybe we see something by the time this video releases, but until we do, we need to see more. It's unacceptable. They need to be gone. They need to be banned. And I want to hear what you have to say down below. So as always, thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.